start with an opening statement from Coach, followed by questions.
We're excited for tomorrow. 11 a.m. tip and the kids, and always love a good Kids Day game. So, but more so than anything, I think an opportunity to bounce back from two tough ones in the last two games, and so excited for the opportunity and another chance to get back out there and get on the right side of the win column.
And you said, practice was everything this week to get ready. How has practice been?
It's been really good, really competitive. Sense a sense of urgency with our group, just coming off two losses, two hard ones, even though we're happy with our effort and the improvement in the last game. Ultimately, like we talked about, was still a loss. And so I've sensed a good sense of urgency the last 2 days. Have a great day of prep today, and then a quick turnaround for tomorrow morning in a game where, we have an 11 a.m. tip, and we need to be ready. Sometimes those games come down to who's awake at that hour and who's ready to tip the ball off and who's not.
Have you been part of kids' games before?
Yeah, definitely. Last year, Buffalo, we I think we set a record. We had almost like 6,000 kids, and they did a tremendous job. So kids' games are always an opportunity for teams to play in front of a big crowd, no matter if they're 5 years old, 7 years old, 10 years old, or not. But here at McKale, we're lucky to play in front of a pretty nice one every night. So our players are excited for just a different feel with the excitement with the kids. But like I said, most teams are excited to just have bodies in the stands, whereas here we're very fortunate and lucky to have that every night. So,
how do you prepare your team for an earlier start like that?
The great thing is we practice at 11 a.m. every day, and so we should be used to that time frame and getting out here and lacing them up and putting our jerseys on at 11 like we do every other day.
How did you assess Michaela's rough shooting night? Good shots, bad shots? How did you see it?
I thought a couple of them that she missed, I thought she was fading away a little bit. But like I told her, she had some good looks. We need her to make shots. She knows that. There's going to be very few nights where Mickey can go 1 for 9 and we beat a good quality basketball team. I'm not saying she needs to have 30 every night, but we rely on her, and I think she likes that. And, when she's getting good looks, I believe they're going in when it leaves her hands. And so, like I said, I think there's more games where she's making shots versus the situation we had the other night. But it happens. She's human, and, I think she puts a tremendous amount of pressure on herself as well to score and to make shots when needed. And so, I know she doesn't feel good about the result the other night by any means, but she doesn't need me to tell her that.
Is that a technique thing with her that you're seeing, or maybe she kind of fades a little bit at times?
Yeah, I think obviously shooting's definitely like form-oriented and mechanics and things like that. But I've seen the kid make 4 in a row when she's fading. She's a hooper, she's a gamer, and just couldn't get into a rhythm or a flow in our last game.
With the rebounding disparity in the last game, when you looked at the film, is there anything you noticed in particular that you want them to do in the future?
We sat in a 2-3 zone for 40 minutes the other night. We've never played zone yet this year. I'm not a zone person or coach, but it gave us the best opportunity to win in that game. So rebounding's really tough in a zone. That's one of the things that you worry about is, you're going to probably get the stops, but rebounding out of a zone is a lot harder than rebounding in man-to-man defense. Not that rebounding has been a strength either way for us, but a little bit harder out of a zone, and I think that had a lot to do with it. It's hard to go be in an area and go figure out who you're supposed to box out, and obviously we worked on it, and it was a point of emphasis, but could have done a little better job.
And pulling players off the free throw line on defensive, what's the thought process there?
Yeah, so watching the film and the analytics and the numbers obviously showed that that was the fastest paced team that we've played to date, and it wasn't even close by a mile. And so any opportunities you get when we're at the free throw line to pull your team out of the free throw line and go set the zone up, there could have been, I believe, we shot 27 free throws, so there was probably about 12, 13 possessions where off of a make, our 2 that would have crossed hard offensively in there, they probably would have taken that, grabbed it out the net, pushed it, and not allowed us to set our zone up. And so the numbers, the analytics, and obviously just me knowing my team said what we're going to get out of crashing on an O-board situation from the free throw line versus what we would give up by them grabbing that thing and getting out of the net and going and beating our zone down the floor, it didn't make sense for us. So that's what we did.
Have You played Nora and Denaya together. Could you play them together?
We could. And there's a lot of different things that we could run with those two on the floor. But the reason that I don't is because normally when one of them comes out, it's because they either got fatigued or lost their mind for a minute or just weren't doing what we needed them to do in that moment. So it's not like Dee's been playing really, really good and there's been a moment where we wanted to put Nora in with her. It's like one of them was struggling for whatever reason, just got a little bit loosey-goosey or fatigued, like I said, and then you have to put the other one in. I would love to be able to go a little bit bigger and try to play around with that. We haven't necessarily had the time or the opportunity because games for us right now are just a grind, so to experiment within a game. We do it in practice some, and it doesn't look bad at all, but an opportunity to be able to do it in a game. I think that time's coming, but it hasn't come yet.
How are they handling this first losing streak?
Well, in terms of like they know what got them beat against Southern. We didn't feel good about that game. And then they know what got them beat against New Mexico, but I think they feel a little bit better about the improvement and the just morale after that game in terms of we responded after Southern to play New Mexico. They shot 36 threes and made 11 of them. Could there have been a little more sense of urgency to contest a couple of those threes or identify a couple of those? Yes, but they followed the game plan. They executed really, really well. And there was a couple things that we watched in the fourth quarter that we needed to clean up a little bit. The two words that we've said this week to our team is everything matters. Everything matters. Everyone matters. We can't have a lapse of, 2 straight times where we come down the floor and start a play early when people aren't set in their spots or, come down and don't know what play we're running. Like there's too many instances this year that will happen where we're going to lose a game because of just not being tight down the stretch. We don't have a 20-point lead. We don't have the luxury of being able to do those things when the game gets tight. So the theme's been everything matters. Everything matters and everything will matter the rest of the year. Every possession, every play, every player. So that's the situation we're in this year.
What have you seen in Cam's development?
Cam's doing a really good job. She's obviously playing more and more minutes. I feel good when the ball's in Cam's hand because she's a playmaker. She's athletic. She's got some wiggle to her. She can make shots. Where Cam and I, where I get frustrated with Cam is on the defensive end of the floor. She's a true freshman, right? She's got to put on some weight. She's got to get stronger. She's got to do those things. But from a talent perspective, Cam's really, really, really good offensively. I need her to get a chip on her shoulder. I need her to get more physical on the defensive end of the floor. That's where I challenge her. I'm not worried about her offensively. She's got to make some progress on the defensive end. And I think a lot of that comes from physicality and her inability to be physical defensively because she's not as strong as she needs to be right now. She's not as heavy as she needs to be right now. And I think all that stuff will come.
You were talking about shooting technique with McKayla earlier. Nora, she's 6 for 16 from the foul line this year. She was over 80% last year. Have you noticed anything with her technique, her process, or anything that is resulting in that happening?
She's in there working on them. She's in there shooting them. It's not, people can't say they missed 10 free throws the other night because they're not shooting them. We're shooting a ton of free throws. And so, but with Nora specifically, I think sometimes Nora is really, really hard on herself and really gets tight and really puts a lot of pressure on herself. So from a mental standpoint, I think Nora, when she goes to the line, she feels confident, she feels calm, she's good. I think when she tightens up a little bit or stresses herself out over maybe missing the last couple, that tends to snowball with Nora, and she's working on it.
Is that the best game that Nolani has played for you?
It's hard to say, from what standpoint, right? Some games she's scoring, she'll have 20, 22. But then there's other games she's going to give you 15 assists. So it's from what standpoint. She's always going to affect the game in a tremendous way. So from an overall standpoint, yeah, I think it would be up there if we had won. But it doesn't feel like that since we didn't win. And I don't think she feels that way either.
You were pretty upset after a win earlier this year. And you were not that upset after the loss the other day. You felt there were some encouraging signs. When I hear that, I think process over results, right? Which I'm sure is something that you've heard a lot or believe in as a coach. Is that true? And then is that also hard to convince the players that that's the way they should be thinking
I'm literally like what I see on the floor, what I feel on the floor, how I feel like our players played, responded, competed. That is how I'll come in and sit on this podium every single time after a game. Generally, when I'm happy, it usually results in a loss because I'm happy that they competed really, really at an elite level. I'm happy they executed well. I'm happy they paid attention to the game plan, all of those things. And I was happy for the most part the other day with those things. And like I said, 9 times out of 10, I am happy with those things. We generally win. But yeah, I do have to be a little more process over results oriented this year, as much as I hate it. And I'm not comfortable saying that or being that way. It's reality with what we have and who we are this year. And so that's something my assistants have been doing a great job with. I don't like it. I'm uncomfortable saying it. I like to win. That's what I'm here to do. But if our team's getting better, if our team's improving and it's a loss here or there while we're doing that, then I have to have some perspective and some grace and some understanding of that, or I will go absolutely crazy this year. But yeah, like I said, and they need to be positively reinforced when they've earned it. And as hard as I am on them when they haven't earned it, and as brutally honest as I am with them, like I need to do a great job of, even in a loss, telling them the good things that they did well. They need positivity from their head coach. They need confidence in me to make them believe I think they're as good as they can be. And at the end of this year, if I say, I squeezed every single ounce out of this group that I possibly could have, then I will sleep well till next season. You know what I mean? But I need to be able to say that for sure. And this group has a lot of ounces to squeeze, and we're still squeezing, and we're going to continue to do that the rest of the year.
What is Eastern Kentucky?
They're good. They're 7-1. They're on a 6-game winning streak. They got here 2 days ago. They've been chilling, getting used to the time change, practicing in our facilities. I mean, they're ready to rock. So no one's coming in here, like I told our team, no one's coming in here and, fearing our team yet, right? We still got to come out every single game and treat it like an equal, and don't treat it like a lower level opponent. This team is 7-1, like I said, on a 6-game winning streak, and ready to win a basketball game tomorrow. And we need to do the exact same thing. And I know that we are. And like I told them, you come in winning 6 games in a row, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. We should go out and perform like we are on a 2-game losing streak, desperate for a win, and I think we'll do that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys. See y'all tomorrow.